So now we are going to see how to deploy a smart contract on our Ganache blockchain. Okay. So now let us open our truffleconfig.js and just go to our development. And now let us make some changes here. Now here you can see that we have our host as 127.0.0.1 and port as 8545. Now this is the port for our Ganache CLI. But what we are going to use is Ganache UI, that is this. And here you can see that we have the local host as 127.0.0.1, but the port is 7545. Okay. And since we are going to deploy our smart contract on our Ganache UI and not on our Ganache CLI, so we will make port as 7545. Okay. Now let me save it. Now let us close this. And now we will go to our migrations folder. Now our migrations folder consists of the script with the help of which we can deploy a smart contract, right? I told you. So just do one thing, just copy this file and just paste it here. Okay. And what we are going to do is we are going to rename our copied file to, you can rename it as anything, it's your wish, but it's better to rename it by the name of your contract so that you can remember it. Demo migration. Okay. And let's save it and just change the number here. Let's make it 2. And what is the reason for it? I'm going to tell you in just some time. Okay. Now what we are going to do is we are going to just, let's go back to our contract. It is our demo contract, right? So we will, so now in this, first of all, we are going to make this capital, demo in capital. Now this is just a convention that you have to follow, right? You can name it as anything, but by the convention, we generally go for capitalized letter of our smart contract. So that's why I have named it as demo. But you can name it as anything. That's your wish. But here you have to mention demo only, the name of your contract. That is this. Okay. And then you have to write here demo. Okay. The constant. Okay. In which we have our artifact. Artifact is the build artifact that we have created here. Okay. So that's it. Now let us save it. And now let us deploy our smart contract. Now to deploy our smart contract, we have to write truffle migrate -- reset. Now what is the significance of reset? I am going to tell you in just some time. So let us first of all wait for our contract to be get deployed to our Ganache UI. Okay, so this deployment process has begun. If you will see, the account currently has 100 ether, right? But after the deployment, you will see that there will be less than 100 ether in this account because you have to pay certain amount of gas fee. Okay, here you can see that means our contract deployment has successfully done. So before migration, here you can see that our contract got compiled first and then the migration process starts. Then here we have our network name, network ID. Yeah, this is all present in our Ganache, network ID 577. And then we have our block gas limit that is also, I think, present in our Ganache. Here it is 6721.975, right? And then we have our initial migrations.js file, that is the migration for our migrations.sol smart contract. Okay, so this is the transaction hash, is the block number at which it get deployed, contract address. Okay, this is the block 0, sorry, this is the block 0, this is the block number, this is the block timestamp, and everything is actually present here. Then we have saving migration to chain and the amount of ether that we have to pay as our gas fee. Then we have our demo migration.js, that is the migration file for our demo.sol file. And here we have our block 0, block number 3. So it get deployed to block number 3. Okay. And here we have our total cost. And this is the total deployments. The number of deployments were 2, right? Because first was migrations.sol and another was demo.sol. And then we have our final cost. And we can check this all on our Ganache also. Just go to your Ganache, go for blocks. And here you can see that we have 4 blocks, right? This is the Genesis block. This is always present in our Ganache. But here you can see that we have 4 blocks instead of 2. The reason for this is that Ganache creates block for each contract creation as well as call. So that's the reason. but when it will come to your mainnet, that will not be the case. So here you can see that we have our contract creation, and this is for block number 1, means our migration.solve file got deployed here only. And here we have all the information related to it. This is the transaction data, created contract address, this is the contract address, and this is the sender address. The sender address is the this address, right? This address is the sender address. So by default, whenever you go for truffle migration dash dash reset, always the first account will be the by default account from which the deployment will take place. Okay. And if you want to deploy it from some other account, you have to make some changes to your migration file, which we will see in our upcoming video. And let's go back to our block 3, right? So this is the block number 1, this is our block number 2, and here you can see that this is the contract creation part for our migrations.solve file, and this is the contract call part for our migrations.solve file. Both of them are the same thing. This is the contract address, this is the from address, and here also you can see that this is the same contract address that is present in our block 2. And same goes for our demo.solve. So this is the block number at which it get created. So this is the contract creation part, and this is the contract address. You can click on it. So this is the contract address, this is the address through which this contract get deployed. If you will go back, this is the block number 4, that is for contract call. Okay, and please do not be confused, like why we have 4 blocks, why like for each contract do we have separate blocks created. So that's not the case. In case of Ganache, we are seeing this, but when it comes to mainnet, this is not the case. Okay, so don't be confused. Just see that your contract is getting deployed to your Ganache, and you can see that by going to the block number in which it says that your block got created. Here it was block number 1, right? And here it was block number 3. Okay. And now let us talk about the significance of using this 1 and 2 here. By numbering these files, we tell the truffle which contract we want to deploy first, which contract we want to deploy next. Like in this case, we have 1 initial migration.js and 2 demo migration.js, right? So in this case, initial migration.js file means the migrations.solve file will be getting deployed first. And then since this file, this second demo migration.js, the file related to our demo.solve, so this demo.solve will be the contract will be getting deployed second. And why do we do this? We do this because let's say you created a very large decentralized application. So in your large decentralized application, there will be many contracts, and you want that some contracts should be deployed first. And after the deployment of those contracts, only those like the remaining contracts should be getting deployed. So you can decide the order in which you want to deploy your smart contract in that case. That's why we have this numbering 1, 2, 3, 4. And now let's talk about the significance of using dash dash reset. Okay. And to do that, let us take an example. Now let me go below here. Now let us do one thing. Let us write truffle migrate. So this will also deploy your smart contract on your Ganache blockchain. Okay. By using truffle migrate also, you can deploy your smart contract on Ganache blockchain. So now let me press enter. And now let's see what will happen. And now here's an important point to notice. According to Truffle, there are no changes made to our smart contract, and that's the thing. It is saying that okay, no deployment needed here because our contract is already deployed on our smart contract, means on our Ganache, so we do not need to deploy it again. Okay, let me make some changes here. Okay, let's say I want to have here num. Let's say I want to make it okay num, and here num, and here also num. Okay, and let me make it also num, and let me save it. Okay, now let us deploy a smart contract again by using truffle migrate. Let's press enter, and now let's wait. And here is some important thing to notice. According to truffle, our contract is up to date, means there has been no changes made to our smart contract. But that's not the case. We have made number to num, right? So we have actually made some changes to our smart contract, but those changes are actually got unnoticed by our truffle. Now, in order to avoid this issue, because this is a big issue, right? You deployed your smart contract and you made some changes to your smart contract, and now you are trying to deploy it again, but you are according to Truffle says, okay, there has been no changes made to your smart contract. So this will create some issue for your decentralized application. So for that, to prevent from this issue, what we do is we write Truffle migrate, so that if there are some changes to a smart contract after deployment, those changes are not getting unnoticed by Truffle. So now let me press enter, and now let's see. And here you can see that our contract get deployed again because we have made some changes to our smart contract. That's why we write truffle migrate dash dash reset. So that's the reason for using dash dash reset. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This is all in this video. Meet you soon in the next video where we are going to see how to deploy a smart contract on our test network.